Easter is the time of year when folks gather together for a big family meal, and while most people like to serve a variety of hot dishes, they might not have the oven space to do so.
That's right, and that's why our next guest came up with a way that you can make a pasta roll that you can make on your stovetop. Ladies, this is a little interesting. Today we're joined here in the Bender kitchen with Betty Ann Donegan and her daughter, Stephanie Dietz. How are you guys?
Great. We're fine. To be here.
Good. This is something, I know, Teresa, you were familiar with this, but I have never even heard of a pasta roll to begin with.
Well, makes sense because you've been doing this for 35 years,
yes.
right? And
yes.
you might have 1 or 2 ovens in your kitchen,
yes.
but people that are preparing holiday meals run out of space.
Right, exactly. So I wanted to do something that could be cooked entirely on top of the stove.
Okay.
That's what this is.
All right, well,
we're going to get started. We're just going to make the dough. There's 2 cups of flour in here. This is King Arthur flour. It's a high-protein flour. When you make pasta, you want to use a high-protein flour.
Okay.
I have 2 eggs. I have a cup of eggs. I have a tablespoon of olive oil and a little bit of water. I'm going to put it into the Cuisinart. And if it's really, really dry the time of the year you're making this, you might need a little bit more water. But when the dough starts to come together, it's done. Now, I'm going to add, if I add any more water, I'll literally add it a drop at a time.
Okay.
But you see how the dough is starting to come together?
Yes.
I'll add another tiny little bit of water. It just grabs. Now you see how it's coming together?
Sure. Yes.
Now see, it just took about another teaspoon of water to do that. So that's ready. So now this is the dough.
Okay.
Now, if I tried to do anything with this dough right now, I'm going to knead it for another couple of seconds. But if I tried to roll this dough out into a long, big sheet, there's no elasticity yet because the protein hasn't had time to relax. You can relax protein with kneading, with agitation. You can do it with salt, a lot of salt.
We don't want to ruins the dough, right?
Definitely don't want to do that. And you can do it with heat. We can't do that, but you can do it with time.
Okay.
T-I-M-E, time.
Time.
So I'm going to just show you. If I want to stretch this, you see, there's no elasticity at all. But this dough has been resting, and I'm just going to show you the difference.
Ah, that's what we're looking for.
That's what you're looking for. Because you can fight with it for an hour, or you can let it rest.
Okay.
I choose to let it rest.
Just let it rest.
So we're going to get rid of this.
Kind of like a husband, right?
Yeah.
Just got to let it go sometimes. Just let it rest. And then over here, we have some
the filling ingredients, yes.
Spinach.
Yes. So in this bowl, we have the Parmesan cheese, a couple of eggs, some ragout, and some cooked crumbled sausage. This sausage was cooked completely, and then we put it in the Cuisinart to chop it up a little bit finer.
Are you guys getting paid by Cuisinart here to plug their product, or what's the deal?
We do like processors. So then this is frozen spinach that's been thawed, and the key to making a good filling is making sure that you squeeze this dry because there's a lot of water in it. So I'm just going to dump this out onto a clean kitchen towel.
And you absolutely have to do this stuff.
You absolutely have to do this.
Gotta get your hands dirty, right?
Well, what happens if you don't squeeze the water out of the spinach, all that water is going to go into the pasta and make it very soggy.
There's a lot of water
Yeah.
in
a lot
that.
of water.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's why you have to get rid of the water. See, that spinach hasn't been cooked; it's raw.
Okay. I wasn't expecting that to happen.
Yeah.
There you
I
go.
know. It goes down to almost nothing.
Nothing like spinach juice.
Yeah.
Yummy. There you go, Stephanie. Nice and
Okay.
strong.
So now this goes in here, and we're going to mix this all up. See that?
Okay. Now, are you mixing with your hands as well, or with
Nope,
the
we're gonna use that.
spatula? So, just no rhyme or reason here. We're just
Yep, go
mixing
for it.
around? Okay.
This dough is taking shape very nicely,
Yep.
Betty Ann.
Now, I want to get this to about 12 by 20 inches. My rolling pin is 12 inches, this part.
Okay.
And this is about 22 inches from end to end. So I know I'm approximately the size and the width of the rolling pin. And I just want to get this into a nice rectangle.
Now, Betty Ann, how many people is this going to feed?
Well, you can, if you're doing it as an appetizer, as a first course, you could probably feed about 10 or maybe even 12. If you're doing it as a main course, then you figure maybe 5 to 6.
You'd be surprised how many slices of this you could eat.
Yeah. I mean,
Looks delightful.
Yeah.
I have done these for parties, and I'm shocked at how much people will eat. I mean, shocked.
Really.
Yeah.
All right,
How did
so
your event go last night, by the way?
Oh my
You had
gosh.
quite a.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
All right, let me see.
It was a total sellout. It was a wonderful event. This was one of the entrees, and it was very nice.
How many people were you cooking for?
Oh, we had about 200.
You did.
Yeah, we had about 200. Yeah, so it worked out very well. It was an event for the Brantford Community Foundation, which we're very big supporters of. So.
Now, just so you know, Betty Ann, this is a new little feature we have here on the show. This is cooking camps. We're going to get a close-up shot of you rolling here. This is something that you're going to have to get used to here on CT Style.
All right, well, that's okay.
So, all right, why don't we take this?
So you see how my shape?
filling
See,
now.
it's about
It's
12 inches.
perfect.
And see, it's just
Got
about
it?
20 inches long. Yeah.
All right, so now we're going to take the filling and move over here. I'm assuming. I'm just making
Yep.
stuff up on the go.
And I'm going to put this right on here.
You're helpful in the kitchen. Look at you,
I did a
little
nice
sous
job.
chef.
For-
You brought it right over.
For once, I feel like I actually did something here on the show.
Okay, you can take that back.
Okay. Now, why is there a slinky on the table?
Oh, well, this is. I just want to talk about protein. See, when you have protein strands and you want them to relax, this is what a protein strand looks like. And if you roll out the dough and it hasn't had time to relax, it's just going to snap back again. And this is kind of like what the protein does. You want to stretch it out and you want it to stay stretched, but when it's not relaxed enough, it's going to just snap back. Like when people are making pizza, they say they try to get it thin. They can't get it thin because they roll it out
It just
and
keeps
then it snaps back again.
congealing back
So you have
together.
to let the dough rest, especially if the dough is cold. That's even going to happen more when the dough is cold.
Okay.
So, like, if I tried to roll this out now, that
Wouldn't-
I just made, I couldn't do this. But
Okay.
in
So,
an hour,
So bottom line, you just got to let it rest.
you just got to let it rest.
Sometimes.
See, I say
gotta
to my
let it
students,
simmer.
you can fight with it or you can let it rest. I
Okay.
choose.
Let it rest.
Let it
That's what
rest.
Teresa
You're
does
good.
at home with Brandon right here.
So I'm
You
going to
just
spread
spread
this
that
out.
all around,
Yeah.
okay.
And I want to get this all the way to the edge because we're going to roll this up like a jelly roll. Now, we're going to cook this in a fish poacher. But when I started making this 35 years ago, I didn't
fish
have
poacher.
Do you have
A
a
fish
fish
poacher.
poacher at
We
home,
do.
right?
I have 3 or 4. Yeah, my dad and I,
okay.
we.
Well, it's just because a fish poacher,
It's
you have to
unusual.
cook this in a
Professional
pan with a
poachers.
rack, and the fish poacher comes with a rack, so it really was a perfect solution. But I used to cook this in a big basin on top of 2 burners on the stove. I had a big enamel basin. It was like a wash basin sort of, but I cleaned it up and put a rack in the bottom of it and cooked it. You have to put it on a rack. You can't not sit on the bottom of the pot. So now I'm going to roll this up like a jelly roll. Now, if you forget what side you have to start on, think of the fish poacher, how big it is. If I rolled it this way,
Wouldn't quite
it wouldn't fit in the fish poacher, so I'm going to roll it from the short end. I'm just going to roll it up like this.
You don't want your pasta roll hanging out of the fish poacher.
That's right.
Right.
No, that's
I'm
a
gonna
big
just
problem in America.
Even this end up. Now here's I'm going to use a towel. Now this towel has been washed a lot of times.
Okay.
And we're going to put this in the towel. Now, this is going to swell tremendously because it's pasta.
It's going to rise. Is that?
It's
Yep.
going to
Wow.
puff way up. So
Okay.
I'm going to roll this very, very loosely because we don't want this towel to act like a tourniquet. You see? Okay?
Okay,
All right.
got it.
Now I'm going to tie it. And again, because this is going to swell so much, I'm going to leave these strings loose. And this also helps you to get it out of the pan, too.
All right, so we tie those up, then we toss it in the oven for how long?
No, not the oven.
It's
Oh, no.
not going
that's
in the
right.
oven.
I
That's the
forgot
whole
about that.
point. But we are going to take a little bit of a break, but the good news is we're going to have you guys come back and we're
Yep.
going to finish up the
Yep.
pasta
We'll
roll.
see the secret
We'll
in
see
here,
how it
yeah.
gets in there. We'll talk a little bit about the sauce and also